What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rosie Wrestling. My name is Safe.
I'm Massa.
And welcome to another edition of Views from Rosie. Today we're going to be reviewing the most recent Smackdown. But before we go into the review, this is going to be our last in-depth review for a Smackdown or a Raw. We're going to be starting a new format where we take 3 big talking points from Raw and Smackdown and go more in-depth on those, just to kind of leave out the filler and, tell you guys more about our opinions rather than just a summary of the show. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that a little bit more. But today it's going to be our last in-depth analysis, and let's just go right into the review. First, SmackDown. We have the show starting off with what's supposed to be Dolph and Baron Corbin, and the winner goes to FASTLANE and enters the WWE Championship match to make it a fatal 4-way. But Baron doesn't come out for the match. He's seen being beat up by Kevin and Sami Zayn in the back. And at first, I thought this was a creative way to avoid adding Baron and Dolph, or Baron or Dolph, to the match, because I really didn't think they were deserving of it. I mean, you have this top 10 list. They're not even on the top 10 list. And both of them their stock is really low.
They also have been out of the picture for so long, and now you're putting them in the title scene. I just don't think it really works very well.
Yeah, exactly. But after that, Dolph also gets beaten up by Kevin and Sami, and then we'll go back to that in a little bit. But then we go into a match between Sarah Logan and Charlotte, and Becky and Naomi actually come out to even the odds before the match. Not that Charlotte really needs it. And Charlotte wins with a natural selection. I mean, this is just...
Yeah,
it is what it is.
The match isn't nearly as good as what Raw has been putting on the past few weeks. The only thing I just really noticed is because the Riot Squad is 3, they're grouping Charlotte and Naomi and Becky together, which I don't like. I don't like grouping. And we heard that next week they're actually going to do another 6-woman tag, which so excited for that, of course.
And if the faces win next week, that basically just shows that the Riot Squad are no threat at all to the women's division. But then after that, we have Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan backstage, and they set up 2 matches for later in the night. Kevin Owens against Baron Corbin. If Baron wins, he's added to the triple threat match to make it a fatal 4-way, and Sami against Dolph Ziggler. And if Dolph wins, he's also added to the match. So that's just to set up the matches. We know what happens later, which then segues us to Kevin Owens versus Baron Corbin. And I could just tell from the beginning of this match, I thought Baron was going to win. I thought really the only reason you're doing this is to put both of them in the match and make it a fatal 5-way. I do remember a few weeks ago before the Rumble, there was a fatal 5-way that was scheduled for Fastlane that I heard about on the dirt sheets. So I already kind of saw this coming, but Baron won with the end of days, and this was a heel versus heel match. What do you think of Corbin getting I mean, it wasn't a big pop, but it was still a pop nonetheless.
I don't understand. He's just not on television for a while, or just barely even being used, and now he's getting a title shot. It's kind of weird. And the fans, okay, they care because we always like the underdog, but I don't think that anyone actually gives a crap about this match in the end. Okay, we just maybe they want to make Sami and Kevin look strong, so one of them will take not one of them will take the pin. I don't really know what they're going for this. And where's AJ in this whole thing? We didn't see him all night. He has nothing, he would probably be upset. I would be upset if I was the champion. But it's just stacking up. Maybe they're trying to make AJ look even stronger, beating 4 other men. But I just don't really like this whole idea in general. Yeah,
AJ, I was going to talk about that later, but yeah, AJ wasn't even on this whole show. Neither was Shinsuke.
Neither was Rusev Day.
Yeah, neither. I mean, I know Rusev had a mixed match challenge afterwards, but AJ, I mean, if I'm paying a ticket to go to SmackDown, I want to see AJ Styles. Yeah. He's probably the best wrestler in the world right now. And Shinsuke just won the Rumble, and he hasn't been on SmackDown for 2 weeks, or he hasn't done anything of consequence since he's won the Rumble. So I don't know if they had a dark match or anything like that, but I highly doubt it, especially with the Mixed Match Challenge and 205 Live after SmackDown. So yeah, that's just disappointing. But Baron wins. He's in the Fatal 4. I love Baron, but they just been booking him terribly. Every week it's either they love him or they hate him. But then we move on to the U.S. Open Challenge. So Bobby Roode calls out whoever wants to challenge him, and Orton comes out. At first I really rolled my eyes at this because I feel like Orton Bobby Roode could be such a good WrestleMania match. And I'm just like, they're just going to waste this on SmackDown. This is an awful idea. But thankfully, they didn't even have a match. They just basically had a promo. Jinder actually came out. And, I'm actually super okay with this because Jinder, he's not in the WWE Championship scene. But at the same time, he is a former WWE champion. And it would just not be fair if they just basically relegated him to not a jobber, but a lower mid-carder again. So I think that him in the U.S. title scene is a good idea. And, him getting the upper hand and doing the Colossus on Randy and Bobby Roode was, I think, a good visual. So I don't know what the feud is going into FASTLANE, but I definitely do know that I want Bobby and Randy Orton at Mania.
So now we have the New Day, and they haven't really been doing that much, but now they have a little pancake feast, and Big E's trying to break the record for the most pancakes eaten in the shortest amount of time. And then Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin come out, and I think that they're really good heels. How do you feel about what the New Day is doing right now, and do you think this is a feud that's coming, or?
I think that they just want to have these two teams doing something. I think the New Day, they're such an amazing tag team that they have to be on SmackDown every week, whether that be a comedic sketch or a match or something like that, because a lot of people pay to see the New Day. The Gable and Benjamin team, I do like the team. They're basically like the fun police. They hate the fashion files. They come and insult the New Day and tell them, leave it to the real men to fight in this tag team division. I don't know what the plan is, but I do feel like these teams don't really have a long-term plan because they're building up for Usos, Bludgeon Brothers. But overall, these two teams have a match, and after some shenanigans from Xavier from the outside, Kofi ends up pinning, I believe it was Chad Gable with a midnight hour. And not much to say about this match. These two teams don't really have a plan, but at least it's good to see them on the show.
So now we have a backstage promo with Dolph Ziggler, and he's talking about how he wants to main event WrestleMania and how we will get there. I don't, I was never the biggest fan of Dolph Ziggler. I think he's the Walmart brand of Shawn Michaels and trying to be like him way too much. But, I like that, he's doing something, but I didn't know that he would be, would come back.
I'd rather you do nothing than do something dumb. Because that's here, true. He wins the U.S. title, leaves it in the ring, comes back at the Rumble, doesn't even mention anything about the U.S. title, and then says he wants to go for the WWE Championship and main event at WrestleMania. And now apparently he's a babyface. So this is honestly the most frustrating thing about SmackDown last night, how Dolph Ziggler, I know he just signed a new deal and he's going to be with the company, but a little bit of a more reduced role. But at this point, why even put him in this spot? To me, Dolph Ziggler's time is really up. So next we have the Usos having a promo, and nothing special, kind of basically the same thing they've been saying every week now. And then the Bludgeon Brothers, they
hit the TV
They hit
monitor?
The projector, whatever it was. The monitor. Again, they're building up between something between these two teams. I hope they hold off until Mania. I think they might just waste it at Fastlane, but then I don't know what they're going to do with the tag titles at Mania. So they've been building this up for a few weeks. I think next week we'll actually see them touch for the first time. I don't mean by a match, but just have an altercation where they fight. Afterwards, we have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn with a backstage segment, and basically Kevin's saying, don't let me down. You need to beat Dolph. The odds need to stay in our favor. But Sami's like, well, you let me down early in the night. So, still some seeds being planted to a possible Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn feud. But they're still friends, and they're still heels at the end of the day. But then we go into Ziggler versus Sami Zayn. What do you think of this match as a whole?
This match, it was good. I think that Sami Zayn, recently, is always putting on either the match of the night or just a great match. I thought it was pretty good. Dolph Ziggler is of course talented in the ring, but then also I didn't like when Dolph Ziggler won with a super kick. One, the super kick is becoming a transitional move, but also I'm like I'm a huge Shawn Michaels fan, if you can't tell. But, you know, he's just so similar to him. Even Shawn has said it before.
But overall, it was really hard to sit through this SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I thought Raw was pretty good, but SmackDown was almost unwatchable this week. So tell us what you thought of SmackDown in the comment section below.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We hope you guys enjoyed. And don't forget to comment down below any suggestions that you have. We're always open to new suggestions. We'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!